What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back with a match preview. We're in for another game. It's going to be a very, very busy schedule, as Daniel Farker has alluded to many times. But yes, we are next game up, Chelsea away in the FA Cup. It's a big game. It's a big game, but I think Daniel Farker kind of simmered the importance of it a bit. He wants to go through by all means. Of course, he wants to go through, but I think he sees the bigger prize at the end of the pot is the promotion. But I still think we're going to go with a fairly strong team. But we'll speak about a couple of injury things that he announced today. Before I get into that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course. Drop your comments below and score predictions. Thank you to John Abbott, William Morrison, Karen Curtin, David Roberts for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated. And listen, the stream was so good against Leicester. That was one hell of an enjoyable stream, I must say. And I got a couple new members to announce there, Matt and William. Thank you for joining the channel. And if you want to become a member of the channel, the link is in the description. It really does help out a lot. So thank you to all existing members. Mike Balanoff here, morning from States, KGUS. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you, Karen, Gavin in the house, Nige D in the house. Yeah, so we got Okay, let me just get this one up first, because this has popped up a couple times. SSJW, this game should be viewed as a test to see where we are at the moment and what our vulnerabilities are against a mid-table side in the Prem. See, I wanted to get into that, but I'll just say that now, seeing as you've brought it up straight away. I don't think you can get too high or too low off this one, because quite frankly as well, we're not going to be having our full strength team out. I think Farker's pretty much said that today. And also as well, it's one game. It's one game. It doesn't give you any indication of what's going to happen over 38 games in the season. So it's completely different. And listen, I'm enjoying this moment that we're in. I'm absolutely loving all the victories. I can't get enough of them, honestly. But if we are to lose this game, it doesn't have any big indication of saying, oh, see, we do need to strengthen. We need to strengthen regardless. Even if we somehow win this game 4-0, let's just say, don't let that lure you into a false sense of security and thinking that we can take this team up and over 38 games, it's going to be enough. Cup games are one-off knockout games, and just leave it and just view it as that. That's what I would say anyway. You may disagree, and that is absolutely fine. If you do disagree, put it in the comments. But I just know that over 38 games, you cannot judge it just by a one-off game. T85 here. Afternoon, pal. I hope our injuries don't affect any of our league games. We'll speak about that in a minute, T85. And Nigel here saying players with knocks need to be rested for Saturday. Yeah. And Mike here, I mean, this is more of what I would get into. And Mike here is along the same lines as me here. As long as we don't take a thumping, I think it will be good for the lads. Yeah. Listen, winning games is the best remedy for anything. But if you lose, make it a competitive loss. I don't think a heavy loss would then derail these guys' confidence. I think they would just dust themselves off and go and get. But as you know, there's always that chance that if you get beaten heavily, it can knock your confidence a little. So I don't expect it to be a high scoring game. In all honesty, I've said that now. Give it the kiss of death, but I think it will be a competitive game regardless of who we put out there. No cap here is saying still want to keep this win streak going. KG, Chelsea will be on a massive low after that final yesterday, and yeah, we want to speak about that as well. But yeah, just before I get into that, let's just catch up on a bit of the goings on around the league, shall we say. And yet again, Southampton with another loss, people. So, and I'm going to get the table up in a bit, but Southampton have started to fall away. So this is what I was saying. I said this a few months ago. I would much rather get a strong, have an okay start to the season and end strongly than blitz the first half of the season and fall away. For me, there's nothing worse than that. And Southampton at the minute are finding themselves in a bit of bother because these have been home defeats as well. And they've been winnable games for this football club. And you can see their manager, if you haven't seen him, Russell Martin, he's getting a little rattled. He was talking, I mean, there was no accountability in his post-match. And you know me, people, I love accountability. He had none of it in this game. Basically, nothing was his fault. The team deserved to win and everything else. But at the end of the day, the only score that matters is the final one. And Millwall won the game 2-1, you know? Yeah, I mean, yeah. See, you've seen him, Sheargraph. His head it's on Mars. He's absolutely spinning, but you have to understand it's high pressure. I completely get it. You know, I'm not excusing it, but I get it because The three teams that came down are expected to go back up 100%. Leeds, Leicester, Southampton, we're all expected to go up. You've seen what's happened in the Premier League today. Everton's points reductions moved to 6 points. So now they are a good 4 points away from Luton now. So the bottom three in the Prem is the top three that came up last season, which was expected by a lot of people. But now Luton have just made it harder on themselves. Listen, Luton had a gimme game against Sheffield United a couple of weeks ago. They went into that a little too confident and they lost the game, and that's cost them now. But that's what I'm saying. It's margins like that that you have to take advantage of. And Russell Martin, he obviously knows that he would prefer Southampton to be in an automatic spot as everybody wants to be. It just makes it harder when you get to the playoff bits. Yeah, there was a touch of Lampard in it. Yeah, I'll agree with that, Sheargraph. Definitely a bit of Frank Lampard there. It's never his fault. It's everyone else's fault and everything else like that. I hear you. Yeah, you know what I think about that goalkeeper, Darren. You know exactly what I think. But Gavin here, and I'm gonna just go to these guys now. Ipswich Town just keep on trucking. They are not going away, or tractoring, I should say. They're not going away, people. Ipswich Town. And it's not like they've got as good a squad as us, Southampton, Leicester. It's not even like that. But they've got a manager that's got them playing a certain way that is helping them out in the long term. They had a little blip, but they're back on track. And also with that, and it's got to remind you of Bielsa Leeds, not the most talented players, but when you've got a coach that gets you playing a certain way, you can make it work. And I mean, you even saw that with Coventry City last year. Yes, they had Gyökeres, who's absolutely on fire, Harmer. But overall, the commentary team is mid. You know, it is. It's not the best championship team by any stretch of the imagination. So Ipswich Town are still in it, and because of that, you know, they are a joint second with us. But you know, our goal difference is far superior, far superior. So you know, we just have to keep on doing what we're doing. And I do think, with that in mind, with Ipswich Town still winning, that has made the cup game and probably the team selection a little bit different. I think if Ipswich Town had a different result against Birmingham City, I don't think we get all the injury news we got today. And listen, it could be real news. I'm not saying that it's all fake news, but I'm just fake news. I'm saying though that I think that the players that have been listed as knocks today, I fully expect to see him against Huddersfield on Saturday. And listen, I hope I'm right with that. I don't want to be wrong. I hope I'm right. Um, Plymouth Way for Ipswich. Yeah, it is. It's very Bielsa-ish, yeah. But with that, okay, so let's go to the team news for this cup round. Next game. Is it the fifth round? It is the fifth round, isn't it, people? I know it's the last 16, but fifth round, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it must be because the next one's a quarter. So yeah, fifth round. Fark here for the presser, and he was speaking about the Leicester game. After such a game, I'm always very tired. I need to relax on the sofa to get leveled again. We're heading to a pretty busy period now. It was important in the last 2 games to calm the load, all right, and clear the heads. I mean, double pause on that, but cool. But for us as a club, there are a few other things we need to focus on, and I think that's where we get into the team news in a bit. I prefer to have this game in different circumstances, not 4 games in 10 days and 3 league games in 6. It's a bit unlucky. I'd like to be able to concentrate even more on this game, but you have to take things as they are. And there he is. He's just saying there, you know, if we had a bigger gap in between the games, because, you know, the Huddersfield game, people, we play this game on Wednesday night, and this could go to extra time and penalties. You know, we could go the full distance in this game, and we still have Huddersfield to play on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. I think it's the 12 o'clock kickoff or 12:30, whichever one. So there's a very short turnaround time for these 2 games. And then we've got Stoke on Tuesday. So we are having to pack in a lot of games in a very short time. Well, you know what? You heard the man. That's what he said. And he did say, I was listening to the press conference. He did say it. Jack here saying if it was a league game on Wednesday, they'd all be playing, and that's a good point. Farker has repeatedly talked about the 3-day turnaround. If you've got 3 days, that's more than enough time to recover. I just feel that with the short amount of time, having Chelsea as well, that's a high intense game in itself. Huddersfield, whatever you think about Huddersfield, it's a Yorkshire derby that's going to be highly charged, and then Stoke. Yeah, it's a lot. And then we got Sheffield Wednesday on a Friday. We've got a lot of games, people. So he was going to have to do something with the squad. And Orinda here saying I would reset the whole team. I'm not bothered about the FA Cup. See, yeah, I'm not in that camp. I've never been in that camp. I believe that you should want to win every game possible, and especially being at this stage. And we talk about Chelsea now. You know, we're against Chelsea, which is a tough tie. There's still a mid-table Premier League team, but you're at the stage now where you win this game, you're in the quarters. Why would you not want that? You know, we saw it last year with Sheffield United getting to the semis and they still got promoted. It's possible. You don't have to choose one or the other. And I would much prefer to win the game and keep think about the confidence level as well if they win the game against Chelsea. Even though this is a different iteration of Chelsea now, it's not as good. You know, I mean, I've just before I went on, I saw some of my Chelsea friends with their streams. Why is Poch still here? Why is he still here? Because you saw the cup final, people, if you were watching it. Oh my lord, they played Liverpool's under 12s in that game for the most part, and Van Dijk, they had a couple senior players, and the rest of it was under 12s, and Chelsea still couldn't get the job done. And you heard, things like Poch saying that my players got tired in extra time, and we were playing for penalties. Listen, they're not in a good spot, but on the flip side of that, they are still a Premier League team, and we are not. And you have to put that into perspective. They'll be looking to do something. Their players and everything are coming out with war cries. We are not happy. It hurts and everything else like that. So they'll be wanting to right the wrongs. But what I've seen with Chelsea as well, especially since the Bowley era began, is that they do a lot of talking and rarely ever back it up. Their record is very poor. It's along like some of the relegation candidates with the amount of wins that they've accumulated. So I still see them as favorites, but there is definitely a chance of an upset in this game. It would be stupid to think that there isn't a chance, especially with the way that Chelsea are playing. Mike here saying, don't know if they can afford to sack him. Yeah, I think there is something in that, isn't it? I think it's to do with FFP, and if they sack him, it's going to go towards the books for this year. I think it's something like that. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's something like that. Darren here saying they're a multi-billion team, but this is again, and this is where I come in and say it doesn't matter how much you spend, because you look at Chelsea spending, and have they got the fruits of their rewards for the spend that they've done under Bowley? Not even close. They've spent billions to be a mid-table Premier League team. That's just not how it should be. That's why I always say it's not about how much you spend, it's how you spend it. And again, not to go on the complete opposite length now, because Liverpool blooded in youngsters from their academy that they plucked from elsewhere. But from their youngsters, their academy, doesn't mean now that you can win everything with a bunch of kids. There's just a fine balance with everything. And if you can, they're a multi-billion team, but honestly, how much are those players worth now? And they're locked in those death row contracts. So it's all about how you spend it. That's why I've never believed in that notion that you need to spend 20, 30 million on every player. You just don't need to do that. It's all about how you recruit. And they're proof of that right now. Orinda, though, carrying on saying, if we beat Chelsea, then draw to Hudds, that's a disastrous week for me. Bobby here saying a lot of the players they've signed are very average. It's just that a lot of the players they've signed, Bobby and everything else, are potential. And as everything, we always know with potential, it's either going to come to fruition or it's going to fall by the wayside. And I just say with this, if you're a player, young player as well, that signed a multi-million pound contract and it's 8 years, where's the incentive to keep improving? Where is it? You're in Chelsea, which is a lovely area of London, by the way. My auntie lives there. Shout out to you. I'm coming back, auntie. I'm coming back. You're in Chelsea. You've got a lot of money in the bank, an 8-year contract. What's the incentive? Unless the bonuses are out of this world, where if you qualify for Champions League or win this and that, then you're very comfortable, people. And we've kind of had that problem with a few of the youngsters that have gone to our under 21s where they've already been made. And yeah, I won't say too much, but yeah, it's it's just one of those, isn't it? It's one of those. Bobby, I would take Somerville over Mudryk every day of the week, and nothing, doesn't matter how much a player costs. That never ever phases me, because Mudryk costs 80 to 100 million. Doesn't mean that he's better than Somerville. I'd take Somerville every day of the week over Mudryk. He's literally he's a runner. He's a runner. He's got no end product. I'm saying this now. He could very well score against us, and that's cool. But he is He is as average as it gets. But we've seen that in the Premier League over the last couple of years. Mudryk, Anthony for Man United, overspend him, and then you see Kudus at West Ham for 30. It's not always about how much you spend. Um, yeah, I don't know what he's doing either, Darren. I don't even think he knows what he's doing. I'll be real. Mad, Kevin. Liverpool players were tested for cowpox. Tremendous, tremendous. It's mad, isn't it? Though, when you see some of their players, I think Jason Kumas' son is in there. Was on their bench, and of course Neil Dan's son. It's like, wow, like, why are their sons that old, man? What's going on? See, that's what I'm saying. Time waits for nobody, man. Time is it's brutal, isn't it? It don't wait for no one. Neil Dans has got a son playing for Liverpool's men football team. Tremendous. Even saw the other day Mark van Bommel, if anyone remembers him, Dutch midfielder. His son's now playing. Robin, or is it Ruben? What's his name? Anyway, his son is now playing for a senior team. It's all mad. Time is it's not waiting for nobody, people. It's nobody. It's not waiting for anyone. Darren here. He is a Ukrainian Dan James, a worse version of our DJ. He's exactly that. Yeah, but that's it. Because he cost 100 million, though, people won't look at him as Dan James. They won't look at him that way. But he is. You're right. He's just quick, and the end product is skewy. At least Dan James in this league, he's improved that, and I hope he can take it forward if he's to stick around. As I've said, not everybody can go, but. Yeah. Listen, but they've still got strengths, haven't they, people? And you've got to believe, you've got to understand as well, they're becoming up a bit of a makeshift Leeds team. Because if we go back into the team news, injury-wise, Bamford, am I showing the screen? I am showing the screen. Bamford has a minor calf ankle injury. He's a doubt. Somerville has rolled an ankle and also might miss Chelsea. James in contention despite a little bruise. Hip flex a problem for Jorginho, so he's a late decision. There's a few question marks, but Byram is back in training and Farco indicating he should be in the squad. So that's what I'm saying. You're going to see possibly a few of these guys sit out of this game, and I do expect to see him back for Huddersfield. We shall see, though. But we may see Connor Roberts start. He didn't give too much away on that one because Connor Roberts, of course, can play in this game. He's now eligible for the next round of the Cup. Maybe Byram comes in for Junior Firpo at left back if he's fit enough. He did say that he needs to see how many minutes he can play. Maybe Peru gets a start again in this Cup game. Maybe Mateo Joseph. I just think we're going to see a few different. I think we're going to see a little bit of a different team here, more different than we've seen in recent times under Danny Farker. Listen, Danny Farker is pretty much automatic, isn't he? You know what the starting lineup's going to be before it even comes out. We know that, but I think it is going to be different this time. Sly saying here simply, no Jorginho, no win. Bobby here saying, I'd like to see Joseph and Peru both start. But just going back to this Sly point, I do understand this because we really do have to have our best players out there in order for me to feel very confident that we'll win. Because if you're talking about Jorginho and Somerville both missing out, then you're talking about Dan James coming in with a little bit of a bruise and also Jaden Anthony. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a drop off with more so Jaden Anthony. So yeah, of course, we're better with our better players in there. That's quite obvious. But so, yeah, I understand what Sly's saying there. Lord Sheargraph here saying Roberts in the right back, Gray in the 10 could be an option. It could be. Phil Hay actually did ask him about Archie Gray going back into midfield, and does he see that being the long-term thing, or is it going to be the right back thing? And Danny Farker did say that he still prefers him in the central midfield, but he's doing great at right back. He's excelling in this position. I'm hoping that that's just for this season. I don't want to see Archie Gray right back in the Premier League, not for 1 minute, please. I don't want to see that. But I think he's just basically saying Archie Gray is good where he is, and because of the competition in midfield, that we're good in midfield at this moment in time with Kamara, Gruev, and Ampadu, when he's playing there as well. So I understood that. But yeah, I don't know if Archie Gray is going to play. He's played a lot of football, which he did say he's been happy to rely on him, even though he's just 17. But if he does miss out, then I fully expect Connor Roberts to play then Archie Gray to come back against Huddersfield. Gavin Parry here saying Joseph, Gelhart, Charlie, Creswell, Cooper, and Byron for starters. In that case, yeah, we might lose the game then. In that fair, you see what I mean? Though some of the drop off when it goes to some of our players being out, it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. Darren here saying though, imagine if we start all our backups and still beat them, will be hilarious. Yeah, listen, I've been taking in a bit of Chelsea content, not just because I've got friends that do it, but they're all over the place. They are all over the place. Some want Poch to have time, some want him out, and you know when fan bases get like that, we have it here, people, don't we? It gets toxic, and it gets toxic very very quickly. And some people are expecting Poch to be sacked today, and that is just not going to happen. And we shall see what Chelsea turns up Wednesday, but we'll also see what Leeds turn up. It's going to be a different looking Leeds team as well. Um, Jane Anthony to start. Karen here saying, I would rest all our key players. We need them injury free and fresh for Huddersfield game. I always love that injury free one. Like players don't get injured in training. It's always a funny one to me, but yeah, I hear you. I hear what you say, Karen. Nigel saying Farker should do something different for Chelsea for the Chelsea game. 5 at the back, 3 midfield, surprise them. There's scope to do that. There's definitely scope to it, especially if our main players are out. We will have to do something different. And I don't think we're going to be as front-footed as we've been in the last few games. I think we'll probably respect Chelsea a little bit more. Because let's face it, look, when their ballers do get on there, if Cole Palmer could open us up, we talk about Chelsea like this, but Cole Palmer's a very good player, and I expect him to play. I think Chelsea are going to go full strength for this one because the FA Cup will be their avenue into Europe, as Daniel Farker alluded to today. Cole Palmer's a very good player. Nico Jackson is not a very good finisher, but if he does get opportunities, especially if Roden and Purdue are rested, then it could be a long day. He could stretch our defense as well. So they do have a couple of threats in there. They do have a few threats, and we do have to be mindful of them because, like I say, they are still a mid-table Premier League team. Let's have a look here. So yeah, let me just see if there was anything else. Byron back in training. Yeah, that was basically it. That was it really. There was just a lot of talk about the Archie Gray and his development and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game regardless. Sorry, just a bit of a dry throat. Yeah, Gavin, they did beat him with their under fives, but it's still Liverpool, isn't it? And let's face it, the winner was still scored by 75 million Van Dijk in the end. You know what I mean? It's one of those, yeah, there was a few youngsters, but they still had a few like big hitters out there. Just a few, though, just a few. But yeah, I don't know, people. It's tough for me with this one. I think my heart is speaking more than my head, but I'm gonna try and be fair in this game, especially in light of the players that could be possibly missing out. And if it's going the way that Fark is saying, let's do score predictions now, people. Let's do that. How about no? That's a terrible one. If we go to extra time, isn't it? Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need extra time. And just to say, it is extra time in this one. There are no replays from this round onwards, so don't worry about that. The game will be over on Wednesday. Oh man. Oh. I don't know. I've got 1-1 in my head for some reason, and then it go into penalties. But I also can see Chelsea winning outright as well. Let me go through some of yours. Lord Sheargraph saying 2-0 Leeds, 94th minute pro penalty and a 98th minute anti counter attack. Oh my lord. Mad Mick is saying 3-0 to Chelsea. John Knox is going 2-1 to Leeds. SSJW 3-1 to Chelsea head. 3-1 to Chelsea head. 2-0 to Leeds. Okay. Okay. Yeah, man. Please write that properly. Lord have mercy. Help me out here. Karen here, 2-1 to Leeds. Tintin is saying 3-1 to Chelsea. Yeah. What's this prefer to lose? Why do we have such losing the fan base, man? Come on, man. We can win it. We can win all the games. Let's go. Let's go. Now the thing is, we lose this game. There's no guarantee that we win on Saturday. It's not easy as that. I don't know why people talk like that. It's really weird. But yeah, anyway, yeah, with a 2-0 Leeds, without a 5-0 Chelsea. All right, this has gone off the rails. What's going on here? What's going on? Is it April Fools already? What's going on? Gavin here, we scored 3 in the last 10. Deshaun saying 2-1 Leeds. Yeah. Jack's going 3-0 to Chelsea. Hank's going 2-2. Bamford's a doubt for this one, Bobby. I don't know if he's going to play in this one. So Yeah. Mr. Ripper saying 2-1 Leeds extra time. Okay. And no cap saying 1-1 at full time, but likely Chelsea to win 2-1 in extra time. Yeah. Yeah. I'd love nothing more than an upset, but I think I've got to be a bit realistic here. And yeah, I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be 2-1 to Chelsea. Yeah, and it hurts saying that. And even with people talking here, there's I haven't seen this many results against Leeds to go against Leeds in some time. So that just shows you the progress. But I've got to think that, especially if we don't have our big hitters, it's going to be 2-1 to them. But listen, again, I'd love to be wrong. I would love to win this game and carry on in the FA Cup, get to the quarters. Let's do it, man. We haven't done it for over 20 years. So yeah. Um, Yeah, Gavin, extra time would be the worst possible result. It could be. But then again, Gavin, if you see, like if it's as changed as it was against Plymouth, where we had a few of our fringe players playing, then it's not really that bad, is it? It's not too bad if those guys play. Of course, if we've got Ampadu and Roden out there again for another 120 minutes, then yes, understandably. But I think the players that like Gelhart and stuff like that, if they're playing, they would love extra time, a bit more football. So yeah, 2-1 Chelsea, but you know that's my football head telling me that, but of course my heart is saying like a nice little 1-0 to Leeds. That would be lovely. But yeah, I'm gonna say that one. Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave it there. um I don't like going against Leeds in this mode right now, but yeah, my football head just won't leave me. So sometimes that wins out over my heart, I'm afraid. But yeah, okay, people. As David Dent here says, like the video, people. That is the preview for the game. I will be back here on Wednesday. I don't know if there's going to be a video tomorrow, but definitely be here after the game, and we can talk it through then. And yeah, like No Cap here says, cheers, KG, fingers crossed, regardless, 100%. I'd love a win, man. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And we shall see. People, like the video before you go. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.